You know that feeling, right? You finish a page, maybe a whole chapter, and you suddenly realize you have absolutely no idea what you just read. Yeah, we've all been there. Well, today we're going to demystify reading comprehension. We're going to unpack a whole evidence-based toolkit that can turn pretty much anyone into a more active and way more effective reader. So let's dive in.
It's so easy to think that reading is just, looking at letters on a page and knowing what they say. But real comprehension, that's a whole other level. It's a really complex process that happens inside our minds, connecting all those words to actual meaning.
And that's the big question, isn't it? What does it really mean to understand something you've read? Because it's not just about knowing the dictionary definition of every single word. It's about being able to weave those words together to build this big, coherent picture in your head.
So, to get to the bottom of that, we have to look beyond the words themselves. We need to dig into what's actually happening in our brains when we try to make sense of a text. Researchers have this really cool way of describing it. They call it building a mental model. Think of it like you're creating a landscape in your mind. You're not just passively looking at it, you're the one actively building it, taking what you already know and connecting it to the new information to create this rich, detailed picture. And here is the absolute key: building that mental landscape. It's not something we're all born knowing how to do. For a lot of readers, and especially for English learners, it's a skill that needs to be taught directly. It's no different than learning to ride a bike. You need some instruction and practice.
The good news is, because it's a skill, it can be taught. And even better, researchers have put together this whole toolkit of proven strategies designed to help anyone build up that reading comprehension muscle.
And look, it's so important to know these aren't just some nice ideas or teaching fads that come and go. The methods we're talking about are backed by years and years of solid scientific research into how our brains actually learn.
Take a look at this. This evidence table shows that teaching these strategies directly, explicitly, has a strong level of evidence behind it. That's huge. This is the kind of data that shows us what's been proven to actually work, not just what feels like a good idea.
And this really hits the nail on the head. It's not about finding one single magic bullet strategy. The best, most powerful results come from teaching a whole combination of strategies. It's about having a full toolkit, right? Not just a single hammer.
Okay, so let's crack this toolkit open. The best way to approach this is with a simple, structured, three-phase plan. And believe it or not, it all starts before you even read the first word. We can break it all down into this really simple but powerful framework. What you do before, during, and after you read. This little structure is what turns reading from a passive thing you just do into an active, intentional process. So in that before reading phase, you're just getting your mind ready for what's coming. You're thinking about what you already know about the topic, maybe looking up a few key words you'll see, and setting a clear goal for why you're even reading this. You even make a few predictions. You're basically just warming up your brain for the main event.
Okay, so your brain is warmed up and ready to go. Now we move into phase 2. While you read. This is where the real engagement kicks in.
One of the most effective methods for this phase is something called reciprocal teaching. It's this awesome collaborative approach where readers actually take turns being the teacher, leading a conversation about the text, using a few key strategies.
And at the heart of it are these Fab 4 strategies. As you read, you're constantly making predictions, asking questions, clarifying stuff that's confusing, and summarizing what you've just read. It's a continuous cycle.
Now let's just zoom in on two of those for a second. Questioning is all about your curiosity, asking those why and how questions to dig deeper. Clarifying, on the other hand, is about being your own monitor. It's that moment where you stop and go, wait a minute, I don't get that. And you actually do something to fix that confusion before you move on.
A great little tool for summarizing as you go is the Get the Gist strategy. It's so simple, but it's really effective. It forces you to boil down the main idea of a paragraph or a section into just 10 words or less. It really keeps you focused on what's most important.
All right, so you've made it all the way through the text. You're done, right? Well, not quite. This third and final phase, after you read, is absolutely crucial for making sure that what you just learned is actually going to stick. See, the work isn't really over just because you've read the last sentence. The goal now is to pull all those key ideas together and really lock them into that mental model we talked about earlier.
And this is where things like graphic organizers can be so powerful. When you take the information out of the paragraph format and put it into a visual structure, you're forcing your brain to see the connections and organize your thoughts in a totally new way.
Ultimately, one of the most powerful things you can do after reading is to summarize the whole thing. This makes you sift through everything, figure out what truly mattered, see how the big ideas connect, and this is the most important part,
Put it all in your own words. That is the true test of understanding. So, when you put all of these pieces together, what's the end game here? Well, it's about creating a fundamental shift in how we approach the very act of reading. It's about becoming an empowered reader.
This is it. This is the whole ball game. Using these strategies is what transforms reading from a passive activity where words just kind of wash over you into an active, dynamic process of thinking and building meaning.
And that leaves us with one last big idea to chew on. If something as fundamental as understanding what we read isn't just some innate talent, but a skill that can be systematically taught and learned, well, what does that mean for all the other parts of learning we just assume people are either good or bad at? It really suggests that with the right tools, maybe we can all become better learners.